What is up, YouTube? And welcome back to Yu-Gi-Oh House. Guys, today I'm here with my boy, and we're gonna be going over the OCG ban list. It was an insane ban list. Yes, go ahead and take it away.
I mean, guys, ban list was ridiculous. Telements down the drain. They killed Kashtira. And we're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over what they banned, why they banned it, and what we can see in the future for the OCG. Usually, OCG ban lists typically follow, the TCG, or the TCG typically follows the OCG. So we're just gonna go look into that, guys. Starting off with the newly banned cards. The banning of Kid Kalos and Wind Barrier Statue.
Yeah, the banning of Kit Kalos, I think that just completely kills tournaments, in my opinion. Being able to just, oh my god, like outright ban the card. I thought maybe putting it to one and then letting Kashtira naturally check the deck with cards like Diablosis. Unicorn can even banish a card from the extra deck. But oh my god, they outright banned the card, and I think that genuinely kills the deck. That really stunts the entire strategy.
I mean, if we're looking at it from maybe like a perspective of, somebody who hasn't been playing Yu-Gi-Oh in a while, just how easy it is to get Kid Kalos out into the field. And the fact when it's out in the field, it can activate its effect to send itself to you can send itself to grave, and when it hits grave, mill 5. Just I mean, we all know Terramis is just an absolutely broken deck. The mill 5 just nets so much advantage, but at the same time, without the card, Telemis is not a strategy. It just isn't. It can't be a strategy. You can't get, no longer can you get into Rukalos. And I mean, if we look further down, skipping over this, we're gonna get into, they're bringing Sheeran to 1 and Rhino to 1 as well. I mean, Telemis is done. It's done. And that's the thing that's most surprising to me, because a lot of people have got accustomed to this meta. The topping lists are all Kashtira Tear, Pure Tear, or Pure Kashtira. And I mean, you completely obliterated both of the most powerful decks in the entire OCG. So leading up to the next event, I am really interested to see what possibly could come out on top.
Yeah, it looks like, in my opinion, this is where decks like Naturia Ishizu are gonna have a lot of time to shine. Decks like Sprite. I know that Totally Awesome is banned over there. However, the deck is very resilient, and without having to deal with Tearlaments or Kashtira, I mean, Sprite is gonna be running around kind of rampant. I'm not gonna lie. They have a lot more room to work with. Um, but at the same time, I think now that Tearlaments is almost completely out of the meta, this is the time for decks like Exo Sisters to either revamp or just die along with Tearlaments. And that's kind of sad to say, because I do like the Exo Sister strategy. I think it's one of those sleeper decks that if you really know what you're doing, you can really go far. I mean, it even won YCS Niagara here in the TCG. Exo Sisters is really nothing to joke around with.
Oh yeah.
But man, I really think that if they can't revamp, they're gonna die along with Tearlaments. All those decks that just relied on being the graveyard hate deck, they're gonna die along with Tearlaments if they can't revamp.
Trouble really playing in a format that's not so reliant on the graveyard. And then we can see here, Havness was already at 2. The bringing Rhino and Sheeran to 1 is super, that's crazy. Merle's the only one left at 3. We were joking about that before we freaking hopped in the call. Merle's alone as the only Terralements core that's still standing, still at 3.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could see it right here. Kashtira and Tear. I don't know why Konami thought Kashtira was such a problem. I don't feel like they really gave it much room to breathe, Uh, we see Fenrir and Unicorn going to one.
Wow.
I mean, these cards were super broken, these cards were really good. I don't know why Konami would change the meta so much just to kind of take it back, because we've been seeing a lot of things, especially this last year, Yu-Gi-Oh alone, when we started off with the adventure engine, and now we have things like this, and now we see Konami kind of taking a step back, like, wait, hold on. Maybe we don't want to accelerate the game so much. I don't know what this says for the future of Cashier and Tear. Don't know if they possibly come back, how they will come back, what the format is going to be like when they do come back. But having these cards out of the meta, you're relieving yourself or the format of the most powerful cards, which is going to completely just shake up how people play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that was their goal in doing this. I overall think that maybe a lot of people in the OCG were just not having fun. There was not enough variety. Uh, that would be my guess, because when you cut off a product, so soon, the Castera hit was pretty soon. You definitely see a problem within your game. So the fact that they banned it just goes to show you Konami prints broken cards. And sometimes they don't let that slide. Sometimes they're like, nah, you know what? I'm not gonna let that happen. I don't want that running around. That's what we're seeing here. Terrelmans obviously ran their cycle, Terrelmans was here for a while. But the Cashier cards, I'm actually sad to see going to one each. Obviously they're broken cards, but you know, we're used to seeing that. We're used to seeing new cards coming to the meta, absolutely broken cards coming to the meta, and sometimes we don't even see them get hit. So it's surprising to see Kashtira and Unicorn going to one. And also Ancient Fairy Dragon coming to one with a rewritten card text. Uh Kev, can you explain kind of like what the difference is from its old version to its new version now?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So if you guys don't know, Ancient Fairy Dragon was very, very popular in the Synchron era. This card just caused so many problems, and now it can't search for the same field spell that it destroys. I don't think that's good enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't think that's good enough. This card is going to be like Snatch Steel, like Fairy Tale Snow. It's going to come off the list for a little bit. It's going to run rampant, and I mean rampant. Being able to search, it's a walking, talking terraforming. Being able to search for a field spell a long while having this card on the field is just way too much advantage. I think Konami's going to realize that and boot it back onto the ban list. We've seen it happen before. I know there was the precedent of, oh, well, a card has never been errated and then thrown back on the list. And we saw that with Imperial Order. Imperial Order got errated, still was running around like crazy. And unfortunately, and I hate to say it because it is a callback to the 5Ds anime. Um, has a great run of episodes. I really do. I love this anime, but unfortunately, its effect is just way too good to exist in the card game, and I think that it will eventually see its way back onto the list. Yeah, I being able to search for a field spell with how crazy field spells are in current Yu-Gi-Oh, there's no way this card lasts for too long.
It will be interesting to see how the events come out to be. Both of its effects are a hard once per turn. I think that was a change. I think it was a soft once per turn. Before it was.
Yeah, I think it might have gotten a change to hard ones per turn. I'm not sure, but I know for sure that the field spell you destroy, you can't search the same field spell you destroy. You have to search for a different named field spell, which was a huge problem. Like being able to just destroy a field spell that's not once per turn, grab the same field spell and activate it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the interesting thing about Ancient Fairy Dragon is it's not just destroy your opponent's field spell, it's destroy all field spells. So
Mhm.
if you have maybe just like if you just run a lot like I don't know. I don't know what type of strategy can be used for this, but I'm just glad that mine isn't a thing and you can't just go around searching mine its effects. Um so it's interesting to see how this card will come about. It is another way to get into field spells. And Yu-Gi-Oh already has like a lot of different ways you can get into field spells, cards like Metaverse, terraforming. You
Yeah,
already have a lot of,
absolutely.
so it's gonna be interesting to see how this card really ups that consistency and what that consistency will bring to the meta, the OCG. And then we see some new card, well, not new cards, but we see Magnuma going to 1 and Change of Heart coming to 1, which is that's following TCG. And I mean, we see it here in the TCG. Change of Heart is obviously a good card. It's a great card. It's just when you bring a card like that to 1, um, you have to run supplementary cards to really get, its use. You might want to run like 3 mind control, or can't run 3 mind control. You might run 2 mind control, 1 change of heart. You might enemy controller at 2, 1 change of heart, 3 enemy controller, 1 change of heart. Trying to kind of up that consistency if you really want to take your opponent's monsters. But change of heart by itself is not a crazy thing to see. I mean, when we saw it at 1 in the TCG, you don't see it in that many lists topping regionals or big events. You don't really see that card come up too often, just because when a card is at 1, it lacks consistency.
Absolutely. Um, but what I think is going to be very scary to see in the OCG is the fact that mind control is a very prevalent card over there. It's splashed in the main deck, it's splashed in the side deck. Mind control really runs rampant over there, and it's at 3 in the OCG. It's going
Yeah.
to be very interesting to see because they already have triple tactics tasking. And triple tactics tasking, as long as your opponent uses a monster effect on your turn, regardless of that being the main phase, you're able to search for a normal spell or trap, and that includes change of heart. So it is going to be very interesting to see. I think it is going to see a lot of play in the OCG just because of triple tactics tasking and how much they take advantage of cards like mind control. But the format has shaken up a lot. So cards like mind control in a very diverse format might not be as impactful as it was in this, damn near tier 0 format that was going on.
Definitely. We see Ptolemaeus coming to 1 as opposed to in the TCG it recently got to 3. And Kevin, you had some words on that before we hopped in the call.
Yeah, I think that the OCG is playing it smart. The TCG just kind of went like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna throw this to 3. Um, like, I don't know. I think that's sets a bad precedent for cards going straight from unlimited to, I mean, from banned to unlimited. I think it sets a very bad precedent for the cards. I like what the OCG is doing, bringing it back to 1, kind of testing the waters with it. We see it's not doing too much granted, it's not doing too much in the TCG, but I think that the card can be very scary. Of course, the card is essentially a turn skip if you're able to put 7 what you call it, 7 materials up under this card. You can completely skip your opponent's turn, and that is you can do that. You can definitely do that. Tri Brigade Lureless can do it. That's what like Reproductus makes cards like Ptolemaeus a mistake to come off the list. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see if it truly does have a scary impact on the format, or if it does how it's doing here in the TCG, and it's just kind of fallen to the wayside.
Yep. Will be interesting to see what that card can really bring to the table. And then you kill 3 birds with 1 stone. You freaking hit Castura, you hit Tear, and then you're hitting Bestials. Bestials, they come with Tear, like Bestials have always kind of been like a response to tear, so I'm not surprised that it's coming to one. Magnuma, you guys already know, literally like one of the most broken cards was ever printed. You you go +1, your opponent negs, and then you have a 2,500 body on the field. And it can search any dragon, you +1 on any dragon. So I mean, cards just way too broken in a format that's not gonna have tear. You need this card at one. You need this card at one. So I don't really want to talk anymore on it. Do you have anything to say about Magnemite?
No, you talked about it very well. Obviously, in response to tier, it's hard to see the card as a problem, but of course, in a vacuum, it is just way too broken. The card needed to be checked at some point, and good on the OCG for doing it sooner rather than later.
Yep, yep, definitely. I mean, if you ban tear, you're gonna get a lot of different decks coming in trying to compete. And if you have, a searcher for all the bestial cards and an actual bestial card that can just hand trap and banish, it's gonna be annoying for players trying to play. And then as if the Kashtira, Fenrir, and Unicorn hit wasn't hard enough, they maybe the field spell as well to one. You
That's
know,
actually terrible. That's actually terrible. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, honestly, Kashtira will continue to see play just because Unicorn and Fenrir are really good cards. But the field spell being at one, it does hurt the strategy a lot because you will not be able to search for those cards as much as you probably would want. And Kashtira is more about, this is the only spell that's a searcher. At least as far as I know. I don't know about any. I know there's some Kashtira support after Photon Hypernova. I haven't looked into it too much, but this is the only card that you can just straight up search. Fenrir is Fenrir is out to hand. So they're trying to kill the strategy. I mean, what can I say? It will still see play just because Fenrir and Unicorn are both just busted. But Kashtira itself as a strategy, I think it's done for a pretty long time. A Rise Heart, just being able to banish everything, on top of Shangri-La, just being able to lock zones. They definitely saw that kind of as a problem. So, that's why we're seeing these hits. And
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think that, like you said, the walking, talking macrocosmos, the Shangri-La, being able to blink out zones. I mean, has there ever been a deck like that? The deck was wow. And on top of that, I mean, you have Tearlament's Kashtira.
yeah,
What were they thinking making a card with those two names on them?
the card didn't even get hit though. That's the funny part. It's useless now, but
Exactly. Exactly.
Fusion coming to one, going from 2 to 1. I think it's interesting we see that, especially in the TCG because the card has not been hit at all. Like the TCG could give a damn about branded or whatever branded got going on. But here branded tear is kind of a problem. And then they decided, well, if you thought you were gonna play any type of tear, like sorry to break it to you, but no. Yeah,
That's like
Brandon Hill is
definitely that's
look.
definitely where they were going with that. That's definitely where they were going with that. They were just, if you wanted to play fusion dot deck, it's over, my guy. Like, go ahead and pick your next deck.
We're seeing Swap Frog come from 1 to 2. That's gonna be good for Sprite. It's gonna be good for Sprite, but you didn't touch Totally. And with Totally not around, Sprite's kind of in like a weird spot right now. But I mean, bringing Totally to 2, I think it's a step in the right direction. Sprite, nonetheless, is an absolutely ridiculously consistent deck, no matter how you spin it. So this coming to 2, I think we're gonna see a lot more Sprites stopping at big events, with this, especially because Sprite, it just has a lot of synergy with a lot of the newer cards.
Yeah, I do think that Swap Frog, even though it could be used in Sprite, I really doubt that the Sprite players in the OCG will use this. In my opinion, I think might be a little bit of a, I'm sorry, Paleo Frog players that your cards are getting abused by Sprite kind of thing. Like Totally Awesome got hacked. I mean, first list after Sprite was being a monster in the OCG.
Yeah.
And I think Swap Frog is definitely that, apology to Paleo players, because I know that's a huge deck over there in the OCG. Paleo Frogs is a huge deck over there in the OCG. It's very, very much a fan favorite over there. But I don't know. I do think that Swap Frog coming to two could have some implications for Sprite. It is a very free body. I think they still do have Ronin Totem over there. So, like you said, it opens up a lot of windows for Sprite. But with what I want to touch on is the Orchist Link monster right next to Swap Frog. I think the more they give to Orcus, the scarier that deck can really be, especially with Kagari right up under it. I don't know if Milo, you were playing the game at the time, but when I was very much new to the game, I was introduced to the game in what is referred to as the Eternal format, where Thunder Dragons and Sky Strikers, Salad, the toss format, right? Thunder Dragon, Orcus, Sky Striker, Salad. The toss format. That's when I was introduced to the game. That's who was running rampant. And I think that the more tools they give to Sky Strikers and Orcus, I think it could really shake up some nasty stuff. There's a reason Harp Horror has not been able to come off the list in the OCG. It's because they are genuinely scared at the kind of advantage engines like that can provide for a deck. So I think it is going to be very interesting to see what Kagari and the Orcus Link monster can do in the OCG.
Yeah, especially a Link 1 coming to 2.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that's room for stuff getting pretty nasty, just because Link 1's just in itself are, just absolutely broken. Kagari probably being one of the most broken Link 1 monsters. Just his effects and how it works with Sky Strikers is really good. So seeing it come to 2 is leeway for a lot of shenanigans. And I don't exactly know if I'm ready for it because Sky Strikers is an annoying deck. I'm not gonna lie. It's pure control. It's so it'll be interesting to see what it can do in the OCG. And Konami's always gonna give love to strikers. It's a fan favorite. Everybody likes Sky Strikers. So interesting to see what will come about Kagari in the upcoming months of the meta or the OCG. Interesting to note though, we're gonna get into these cards, but Raigeki after a long time at being at 3 is coming to 2.
Yeah, I think the OCG might have recognized that Raigeki is a powerful card.
Yeah, Raigeki's
Raigeki is a very powerful card. It doesn't have the sort of drawback that Dark Hole has, where you gotta destroy your own monsters as well. Raigeki destroys only your opponent's monsters, and unlike Lightning Storm, it is regardless of those monsters' attack or defense position.
yeah.
It's just blow up the field. So I don't know. I do think that it was I don't think it's a necessary check. I think that the OCG was very, very heavy-handed with this list. I mean, everybody got touched in some sort of capacity. Everybody got touched.
Like,
This list was insane.
it's not too often we talk about the OCG ban list in the TCG, but this ban list was just so extensive that we kind of need to talk about it because I mean this is most likely the future of where the TCG is headed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're seeing a freaking I mean just this part alone it's just absolutely ridiculous. Kick Howl's banned, and then Wind Barrier statue too. I mean everybody loves to see that. Everybody loves. That don't allow you to play the game getting banned. Like we all love it. We all love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
to the TCG as well, though. It's like is joining the ranks of like the two formats have now completely banned this card being Master Duel in the OCG, and the TCG is definitely next.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that the TCG will follow the OCG and Master Duel and go ahead and ban Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds.
Yeah.
You know, why allow more floodgates in the game? You know, if they're unproblematic, then sure, let the floodgates be floodgates. But Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds is abused not only by Floowandereeze, but it's also used in Kashtira. Kashtira has access to Arsenal Falcon, which is a rank 7, which special summons any level 4 or lower wing beast. Don't quote me on that, but I know exactly what it can do, and it can special summon the Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds.
Also, Foolish Burial Goods going to 2. I'll be honest, I don't know why they did that. I don't know what's running around TCG that really wants to put their spell. Maybe that's because of Kagari coming to 1 or Kagari coming to 2 that they brought that up, but I doubt it. There has to be some other strategy that just wants your spells, your traps in the grave.
In my opinion, I think it is a similar trend to Foolish Burial. We all know Foolish Burial as being one of the most powerful spell cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Foolish Burial is an insanely good card, and Foolish Burial Goods is a lot like Foolish Burial in the sense that it opens up so many avenues for so many decks. But I think that specifically, it was another tier limits hit. Being able to Foolish Burial Goods a Solic and then turning your Foolish Burial Goods into a Rhoda, like, okay, dump Solic, now I can search for any tier limits monster. So, of course, Foolish Burial Goods needed some sort of check. It's again another insanely generic card like Foolish Burial that I think will eventually work its way down to 1 just because of how good it is on its own. I mean, Foolish Burial Goods in any strategy that wants to put a spell in grave is going to take advantage of this card.
Yeah, and there's always new strategies coming out. This card always comes in and out. It's a tech choice for a lot of different strategies. Obviously not as versatile as Foolish Burial, but still that it's just it opens up a lot of opportunities for players playing different types of
absolutely.
Right yeah. Here going from 2 to 1. I just want to say, guys, we have completely forgotten about the whole adventure engine here in the TCG. If you never got your adventure engine, water changes is like $10 right now. The water changes is $10,
which is insane to even think about because that card was running around at like $40.
Cards running around like 50, yeah, $40. Right at Air Mazir, around 20, 25, which is still a decent price tag. But I mean, for what the adventure engine is, and I mean, it hasn't got a hit at all in the TCG, but we just don't see it anymore. We don't see it anymore because we got I mean, the scaling of power in this year has just been absolutely ridiculous. It's been absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that it was this year. Yeah, that's freaking insane to think about. That Fateful Adventure dropped this year. Grand Creators was this year. Yes.
Three core sets ago.
That's crazy.
Darkwing Blast, well, 4, because it was Darkwing Blast, Power of the Elements,
Battles of Chaos.
Battles of Chaos, and then
was that a core set? Maybe. I think so. It was a core set, right?
I think you might be skipping over Dimension Force, and then it was Battles
Dimension Force, yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right.
Throughout the year. And yeah, I mean, Grand Creators was, I mean, it was crazy because it had this stuff in it. And then,
yeah.
Get rid of the adventure engine. The adventure engine was being splashed everywhere. People were calling for emergency ban lists. People was like, ban it right now.
Oh man. Yeah, with the synchro good stuff. Do you remember that 60 card pile? I remember sitting down and all of us looking at that 60 card pile that won the YCS with Magician Souls and the illusion of chaos and the
The whole
entire
side.
the Tenyi cards, some of the Rose Dragon cards. Yeah, that deck was insane. That deck was insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could put up the Scythe Lock. It could put up DPE. I mean, it
Yeah.
was insane. It was insane. That deck was really problematic.
Yeah. Honestly, like that was, yeah. And then, but surprisingly, all they really had to do to break that strategy down was ban well, they did ban Predaplant, which knocked out a part of it, and then they brought Red Rose to one, which kind of took out the synchro engine in it. So then it got
Yeah, just knocked its knees out.
it got dumbed down, and then obviously the Hulk ban, and so there was a lot less.
Oh man, yeah, RIP.
That deck was really running around when Hulk was unlimited. People were running two Hulks in that deck. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Hulk was unlimited, stuff was unhinged. Like I don't even that was really unhinged. Like
Yeah.
Hulk,
Oh yeah.
spam,
Oh
Auroradon,
yeah.
Auroradon just
Oh, Auroradon. Oh man.
yo. Can we see Auroradon come back?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not in this lifetime. Not maybe a couple of years from now.
And then all these cards are getting unlimited. You know,
Yeah, I think these are all they're very except with the exception of Water Enchantress, these are much less relevant. Phantom Knights of Torn Scales was locked behind the ban list, honestly, for no reason. Phantom
yeah.
Knights was very, very good at the initial release of the adventure engine. I know the hand rules are different in the OCG, so it was definitely slated to be a lot better in the OCG than it ever was to be in the TCG. However, the deck cannot compete nowadays. I don't think that Phantom Knights could really even remotely compete nowadays, especially in the OCG with how advanced their format is. Scarlet Sanguine being back to 3, ABC Dragon Buster being back to 3. Nah, yeah. Yeah, good luck trying to play your ABC deck right now, for sure. Go ahead, have fun.
You know,
You're not gonna win a lot.
I really want to pull up where Konami was saying the stuff about the ban list. I really want to see if I can pull that up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they did explain our TCG ban list. They definitely explained our TCG ban list. I know that I watched a couple of videos. Shout out to House of Champs. He was explaining that, you know, the list was explained throughout by a representative at Konami, and they did a pretty good job overall at explaining the list. And I think that's something that sets a very good precedent from here on out. I really do want to
And
get an explanation with our lists. I like to see that. I do. I genuinely do. I like to see that Konami does actually care about us, the player base, the people who actually pour money into the game.
you know, I think you have a completely different perspective on it because you watched the House of Chance video, and I watched the M Cole 40 video. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shout out to M Cole 42 for real. Yeah,
But
for real.
going over the freaking announcement was just hilarious. Like, the stuff was just freaking hilarious. But it's
Yeah.
like they're explaining like the format, and it's obviously like they're explaining the freaking format to the players, and it's just like, you're saying, oh, like Mystic Mind, well, you don't have to worry about Mystic Mind anymore. It's like you don't have to your opponent's stalling anymore. It's like, okay, Konami, they're trying to explain it in like the freaking like, oh, hello, duelist. Like, oh, like, I don't know. There's obviously just a disconnect with it. I do think it's a step in the right direction because Konami just kind of freaking beholds the freaking ban list in front of us like every 3 months, and we either like, it's like we're throwing and making rituals to the gods just for one thing to happen, and then another thing happens. This happens here, and this messes up that, and then Dimensional Fissure goes 3, and Macrocosmos goes.
Oh man.
And now everybody's up.
Yeah.
Now we're just, I think I think it's good that they opened up some lane of communication.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. I do think it is a, like you said, a step in the right direction. It did sound a bit tone deaf. It did sound like, maybe the person writing the article was getting analytics from somewhere else because they obviously don't play the game. That's bottom line. You could tell the person writing obviously does not play the game. Because in no way, shape, or form was Curious the Lightsworn Dominion the problem of the format. That might have been the problem of the format.
oh,
That might have been the problem of the format like two formats ago.
don't have to worry about
Definitely not the problem now.
Lysor and Dominion anymore. A card that could send any card from the deck to the graveyard. Like it's like
Yeah, I know he mentioned the viruses.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I do want to give it to them. I do think it is a step in the right direction. I do really very much appreciate what they're doing by speaking to us, the player base. Um,
can I just say
they should
something?
probably get a content creator to do that though. Should get a content creator to do that.
Yeah, they could get
Someone
us.
who genuinely plays the game.
We could break it to the people.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
They're like, guys, we talked to Konami. They really don't
They
give a.
told us why. They told us why they banned the cards. They
This is the thing we know.
want to make money.
It's just like, oh, like whatever. I never freaking noticed that Sprite had freaking badges. He has like
Oh
freaking like,
yeah, they're dripped out. They're
he has,
dripped
like
out. They're dripped out.
the boy has like Boy Scout badges, bro. It's kind of funny.
Definitely why I wanted to play the deck is because of those puffy jackets. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually 100% why I wanted to play the deck. I saw the puffy jackets and I was like, yeah, this is my deck. This is my deck of the format for real.
Kind of weird to really look at the archetype. I know this is completely off topic, but like the freaking Terrelments are like half fish. They're like mermaids, but like more fish-like. You know, I mean, they are
Oh man.
just saying off topic, but they are like freaking fish. They're all underwater except for Rhinoheart, I think. Um, it's like, what you doing playing a fish deck? Might as well play freaking
Play some
Marinsa
freaking goaties.
or a freaking cosmic fish or whatever the hell Goaty
I was
is.
gonna say you said freaking Marinsas. Marinsas are like cybers. They're not even freaking fish.
Bro, they're not like, I don't know. I don't know. Card art, whatever. Princess in my head, I was like thinking about mermaids. I don't know. Okay, remote duel. This just happened. Like, this is literally like shout out to I don't know if the original poster Snoo1345. I don't know if 13545. I don't know if he's the original poster. You do have tags here at the bottom. Sharik TH on Discord and Got You Designs. They're bringing us this,
Definitely shout out to them. Definitely shout out to them for
these designs.
um this breakdown of the YCS. This is the top 32 of the YCS. You get to see the breakdown here. It's I mean, are we really surprised at this point? 18, 18, yes, 18 topping Ishizu tournament list out of the top 32, with 5 being Flawanderees, 5 being Sprite, 2 for Runic Stun variants, 1 Exo Sister, and 1 Runic Naturia. I think, I'm not gonna lie, that might be Naturia's first top 32 at a YCS. Don't
Uh,
quote me on that, but that might like Naturia
has
has
been
very much taken a backseat.
I don't know, man. Naturia, I've definitely heard a lot of talk about Naturia, and I'm pretty sure it's topped some bigger events not too long ago. It's just a lot of different Naturia shenanigans you can do. Those cards are pretty. I don't know. I wouldn't surprise me if this was not his first top cut. Um, Exo Sisters at one Exo Sister deck. That's interesting. Exo Sisters is kind of like, it's kind of supposed to be the answer for Tear. but I'm kind of under the assumption you need to have like at least 3 billion IQ to really counter a Shizu tear, you know, and hit all the right places and have the right cards in the field at the right time to really just stop all the gas that Tearlaments has to really just, you know, effect after effect after effect. So
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Even with opening D shifter and having every single answer to their board, you still might not win the game.
yeah,
Exo Sisters really does not have the kind of gas to push for game, especially, well, I shouldn't say that. They don't have the gas to push for game against the Shizu tier limits.
yeah, definitely. We also see Runic Stun. Interesting to see that 5 sprite, 5 flunderies. I'm interested to see what the sprite list is looking like. I want to see if they run any of those floodgates like D Fisher, flunderies. I'm interested to see what that deck list is looking like. Just because I mean they gain really a lot from the December 1st ban list. But besides that, guys, it's really, I mean, like, this is the first kind of like big event after the ban list, and it looks exactly the same, you know.
Yeah, this is like you said, exactly like you said. This is the first YCS back from the ban list, and we are at a state where nothing has changed. We all kind of guessed that cards like Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos coming back to 3 are not enough. That's
Oh,
not enough to deal with tier limits. And it's why that article, to tie it in, you know, the article did feel like a bit of a slap in the face when talking about tier limits. Because again, floodgates are not the answer to tier limits.
they aren't.
That, yeah, that cannot answer it. It doesn't answer a tier limits board. It might answer the start to their duel. You might get lucky enough to put up those floodgates going first, but going second, no. Yeah, no, you're not gonna be able to break a board with D Fissure or Macrocosmos.
So, guys, I believe that's all that we have for the episode today, guys. I'll just leave on the note that this freaking Naturia card right here looks pretty creepy, just having that one little slice right there.
Yeah, what is that? Some no, Camilla or Sunflora or something like that. I know that card's pretty insane. It is what allows it to bridge with the Shizu engine. It is what allows it to bridge with the Tearlament engine. And to go ahead and wrap it all up together, I am willing to bet that this might be the best deck in the OCG come post ban list. In my opinion, Naturia Ishizu Tournament.
I was
Sorry,
just
Naturia Ishizu might really run rampant in the OCG now.
I was just about to say that one Eteria is looking pretty menacingly, you know.
It's looking kind of ominous right there.
It might be taking Ishizu's spot as soon as that you know, as soon as they freaking go out and ban those cards. But guys, yeah, that has been it for us here at the Yu-Gi-Oh House. You know, once again, guys, close to 700 subs. So if you want to go ahead and show support, you can comment and subscribe down below. Besides that, guys, we will see you guys in the next video.
All right, guys, thank you so much for checking back in with the channel, and peace.